Good morning, everyone. I'd like to go ahead and get started and welcome you to our second annual Engagement Conference and Engagement Day here at the University of Idaho. We're very pleased to have all of you here, and also we have people joining us from Boise, our Boise Campus Center as well, and we're pleased to have them online. And this is one of a series of great events that we've had here in the last week or so at the University of Idaho. My hope is that this conference will help us strengthen the strong base that we have built through our extension educators and others who are already actively engaged in connecting our university's strengths in education and research to practical outcomes in communities beyond our classrooms and research facilities. And it's an important part of our mission, as we all know. This conference follows the Sustainability Symposium, which I think was a rousing success, and appreciate all the efforts around that. And we've just completed the Bora Symposium as well. We had guests last night over at our home from Palestine, and also the former ambassador to the United States from Rwanda. And yet these all have something in common with what we're talking about today. Each of these events reflect our combined leadership in sharing important messages with audience that go beyond our campus, because as a land grant, we truly care about not only what happens in the classroom and through our research, but also through our outreach and engagement. Our engagement efforts have been doing that for really since our founding over 120 years ago. But there's now a greater need than ever to actively engage with those in our state, our region, and around the globe. And I think the University of Idaho needs to help lead that effort. Along that line, I'd like to give a special welcome to our extension faculty who are here from around the state to participate in their annual conference. And I've had the opportunity at different times to meet with them, and I appreciate all they do. Your efforts have been essential to the success of so many people and communities around our state, and many of your successes are not necessarily broadly known by the general university community, but I want you to know that we appreciate what you do, and we need to do a better job of informing the university community and our state about the great work that you do. There's no doubt about the efforts that you've invested in our state and how you've strengthened our state through your work. So I'd like to thank Charlotte Eberlein as well for her leadership in directing these efforts. And I'd like to have Charlotte and any of our extension faculty that are here today to stand, and let's give them a round of applause for all the work that they do. So thank you, because they truly are part of the fabric of this state as we invest in our state. Engagement has been one of the key themes of my presidency since arriving here almost 2 years ago. It doesn't seem possible that it'll be 2 years here in a couple months. As you likely know, the week I took office, I began a listening tour around our state, and I traveled something like 1,500 miles and met with over 1,500 people. And the first few months of my tenure, I visited dozens of other communities and talked with hundreds of constituents about their expectations for our great university, the University of Idaho. And I'll make another similar trip here in late June of this year. I plan to talk about our successes that we've had and encourage more of our colleagues around the state to become actively involved and supportive of the University of Idaho. Fortunately, some of the groundwork that I have focused on in my presidency was certainly laid out before I arrived, and I'm trying to extend those efforts more fully. Many of the individuals involved in our previous strategic plan, Goal 3 team, have continued to promote engagement efforts to include Steve Hollenhorst from our College of Natural Resources, and certainly Priscilla Salant. I'm sorry, thinking about North Idaho and Coeur d'Alene, but sorry, Priscilla. Priscilla Salant, who's done an outstanding job in leading our engagement council and engagement efforts. These two have helped connect to nearly 200 faculty and staff from across the state in developing our outreach and engagement efforts. For their efforts and many others, we are truly moving forward, and I express my thanks to Priscilla and to Stephen and everyone in this room that has been involved in some way with our engagement efforts. Thanks to the Goal 3 team's efforts, their recommendations allowed us to create the Outreach and Engagement Council. When I appointed this council in November of 2009, my charge to them was that they should continue to build on the existing work to develop logical, transparent, inclusive, and thorough vision for the university as it relates to engagement and community. To move forward as we sought to serve the entire state with a seamless and interconnected system of people, programs, and activities. And we have a lot of these silos, so to speak, across the university and across our state, and we need to break those down and build those connections, and I think that's very important. This council has carried out that mission, and because of that, we've seen successes from multiple teams implementing programs in nearly 60 communities here in Idaho, 60 communities. We've had not only a lot of faculty and staff involved in those activities, but we've had over 2,000 of our students dedicating over something like 140,000 hours per year of community service in our state. It's truly an extraordinary effort, and I appreciate all of you that have provided leadership to allow that to happen. With the aim of continuing to build towards those successes, I'm pleased to announce today my response to another recommended step and announce the creation of the Office of Community Partnerships, and I'm very pleased to announce that today. The aim of creating this office is to elevate the status of engagement and to make it clear that engagement is a key part of our mission throughout our university. The first director of that Office of Community Partnerships, I'm also pleased to announce, will be Priscilla Salant. And Priscilla, congratulations to you, and yes, thank you for all that you've done. I believe this office will aid us in pursuing our mission etched into the stone in the administration building as you go in 1908. It's etched for the training of Idaho's citizens to their highest usefulness in private life and public service. I believe that active engagement of our students, faculty, and staff is the final component of that charge in which we take learning and apply it for the benefit of others. Our job is to establish the means by which our students and our successors can actively engage our state. Towards this end, we must continue to build the relationship of our extension network with other parts of the university, especially with our various regional campus centers in places like Boise, Idaho Falls, and Coeur d'Alene. For too long, some in the university have missed the importance of our extension team, and it's time to reclaim the importance of that and to recognize that and utilize that to our maximum benefit. In many ways, our extension educators have been at the forefront of our outreach and engagement efforts. They have been our ambassadors in every county in this state. We have offices in 42 of 44 counties, as you know, but those extension agents reach every part of our state and contribute in many different ways. It's not just about agriculture, even though they're coordinated through the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. As you know, they deal with community development, economic development, a number of social programs and support, nutrition, and many other aspects of community. Yet, they should not be working in isolation. Their knowledge and efforts can benefit from connecting with the rest of the university, and we need to make that happen. This will take further discussion and work to better align our three-part land-grant mission so that each supports the other. So we use our outreach to help students learn and develop more useful scholarship, and in turn, how we use our scholarship and students to better serve the state is part of what we need to be thinking about every day, and I think we're moving in a very positive direction in that context. That is why we're here today, to talk about using outreach to enable student success in a rapidly changing world, to improve the quality of life for Idahoans and society more generally, and secure economic progress as we articulate our goals 1 and 2 of our new strategic plan. Our capacity to achieve these ambitious goals was affirmed this past year when, along with the Coeur d'Alene tribal communities, the University of Idaho was named the Western Regional Finalist for the National McGraw University Community Engagement Award. We were one of only 5 finalists in the United States, and I think that says a great deal about our commitment and our ability to do things in a very outstanding way. Now we need to develop our programs and processes to make the repetition of this sort of activity part of our routine rather than just as an exception. And I'd like you to see the awards video produced by University's Communications Department and shown last year in Dallas, Texas, in front of probably 600 people to the National Outreach Scholarship Conference. And I should say the Dallas part of it was at the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities. And I don't know how many people were at the outreach conference, but probably several hundred, 400. So we had 1,000 people that had a chance to see this, leaders from throughout the United States and beyond. Following the video, you'll hear from 2 of our key faculty involved in the engagement partnership, Laumatia, and we appreciate her leadership from our extension faculty, and Steve Hollenhorst from Natural Resources. Thank you again for being here today. Thank you for your vision, your efforts, and for your investment in the promise of a better future for Idaho, for the region, and our nation. You continue to distinguish yourselves. I'm very proud of this university. We truly are a diamond here in the state of Idaho and the Gem State, and I'm very, very proud of what you all do. Thank you for that, and let's have a great engagement day today at the University of Idaho. Thank you very much.
Start it.
In the rolling landscape of north central Idaho, a cluster of towns on the Coeur d'Alene Reservation face challenges ranging from poverty to cultural neglect. But since 2006, there's been a change. New local leaders are emerging, participating as equals with the University of Idaho in community building. They teach as much as they learn, and the tribal and university communities are being transformed.
There is more energy and more feeling a sense of pride in the community, whereas if you came here 4 years ago, the look of poverty was really pervasive.
Extension educators, faculty, and students embraced the opportunity, helping the towns create a community-wide vision.
It's bringing the people together, I think, and making a whole, almost like a coalition, using the avenues within our communities.
In the process, the university strengthened its curriculum by grounding academic theory in community settings.
One of the most important things for me was building connections and then relationships to work with tribal government staff, with community members, with U of I staff and faculty, and seeing how all of this could synergize.
The partnership has already led to a new nonprofit called One Sky and grants of $2.5 million for wastewater treatment and affordable housing. Engaged scholarship is making the University of Idaho a better partner and 21st century land-grant university, serving the state in more contemporary ways.
When you engage students in these types of experiences with communities, learning is deeper and richer.
The bottom line, I think, of what One Sky and Horizons has brought to this community is it has brought out leadership in people who never thought they could lead, or never thought they could make a difference, or never thought they could make an impact in our community.
Morning, I'm Steve Hollenhorst. We're here today to share with you our work with community partners on the Coeur d'Alene Indian Reservation. We called our partnership Better Together to evoke Robert Putnam's book of the same name. Putnam wrote about the success of hardworking, committed people establishing bonds of trust and understanding as they reweave the social fabric of organizations and communities. The reciprocity embedded in Putnam's concept of social capital is the same reciprocity that characterizes community engagement in higher education. We are reweaving relationships with our own institution and with communities so that we can work successfully at the intersection of teaching, research, and service. About 10 years ago, the university began this reweaving process by renewing its land grant commitment to outreach and engagement with Idaho communities. While literally hundreds of outreach and engagement activities have been part of this transformation, 2 programs have, together, made a particular impact on the communities located on the Coeur d'Alene Reservation and those communities. The first is Horizons, a community leadership program organized through UI Extension. Principals on this project included Priscilla Salant, Debbie Gray, and Mary Schmidt, with great support from Charlotte Eberline, Mike Howell, Paul McCauley, and Michelle Mattoon. The second is the Building Sustainable Communities Initiative, led by Steve Dround as the co-PI and director of the BSCI, and the great work of the BSCI faculty like Tammy Laninga, Sandra Pinnell from CNR, Laura Laumatia from UI Extension, Dave Paul from Education, and Rula Awad Rafferty and Michelle Vachon from Art and Architecture. And of course, the home of the BSCI program is in the College of Art and Architecture, so the great support of that college, and Mark Hoverston is the dean, has been great. And then we never would have even applied for this award if we hadn't been pushed, in fact, even told by President Nellis that we had to apply. So we did. The graduate students in the BSCI Master's Program in Bioregional Planning envisioned and carried out these projects, so they deserve a lot of recognition. And of course, the effort wouldn't have been possible without the contributions from the many reservation community members who participated, particularly under the leadership of Dr. Chris Meyer, a Coeur d'Alene tribal member and director of education for the tribe. And Chris sends her regrets that she couldn't be here to give this presentation. So I'll begin with a brief overview of the Better Together partnership. Laura will then share with you in her various roles as graduate student, tribal extension faculty, and community member, her perspective on the impact of the project on reservation communities. And then I'll conclude with a few lessons. So the ancestral lands of the Coeur d'Alene included 4 million acres of North Idaho, eastern Washington, and western Montana. Successive treaties reduced the reservation to its current 345,000 acres, and under the Homestead Act of 1909, the tribe lost ownership of most reservation lands to non-Indian settlers. Today, just 69,000 of the original 4 million acres are owned by the tribe. Most of the reservation is in Benewah County, which has the highest minority population and highest unemployment rate in the state. Poverty, unemployment, and geographic isolation are chronic challenges facing the region. Almost a third of residents are below the poverty level. Over 40% have no health insurance. And with the success of the casino and other enterprises, there has been significant improvement, but there's a long way to go. In 2003, UI Extension began Horizons. Horizons' goals are to help communities understand poverty and develop locally based leadership to bring about lasting change in those communities. Idaho Horizons has received more than $2 million in grants from the Northwest Area Foundation. 49 Idaho communities and over 10,000 residents have now completed Horizons training. 4 of these communities, Plummer, Worley, Tensed, and DeSmet, are located on the reservation. Horizons implemented study circles where local residents organized community conversations about solutions to poverty. They did Leadership Plenty events where people learn and apply community leadership skills. Community visioning sessions were organized where participants created long-term visions and action plans. And finally, community coaching from Horizons staff provided training to help rural communities build skills and take action. The Building Sustainable Communities Initiative engages communities to extend and sustain the capacity building work of Horizons. The purpose of the BSCI and its graduate degree program in bioregional planning and community design is to prepare future leaders, conduct engaged scholarship, and assist communities in planning for sustainable development in and across bioregions. Three things make the BSCI unique among U.S. planning degree programs. First, the BSCI brings together an interdisciplinary team of faculty from 8 colleges, 9 departments, and UI Extension to deliver a state-of-the-art teaching, scholarship, and outreach program. Second, the entire initiative is linked together by a bioregional approach that considers the ecological functions, human settlement patterns of the region, and builds more inclusive civic constituency and emphasizes regional resources and energy sources to inform community economic development policy and design. Third, the program places service learning at the heart of the learning experience for students. From their very first class, students are engaged in real-world work with communities as an integrating context for understanding planning theory and methods. The BSCI engaged with the Coeur d'Alene communities in several ways. We began with a class that developed a socioeconomic atlas of the reservation that provides evidence-based rationale for community development decisions. This project was followed by studio courses that developed design plans for affordable housing, revised local zoning codes and ordinances, and improved wastewater treatment systems. As a result of these classes, several students decided to focus their final projects on extending these projects. One student developed plans for a tribal knowledge center, and another developed plans for community economic development around art and design. Okay, so with that, Laura will share her perspective as an extension faculty, student, and member of the Coeur d'Alene Reservation communities.
Last week, a fellow graduate from my cohort in the bioregional planning program and I took a drive up to the new tribal housing development known as the Gathering Place. For me, as an extension educator used to trying to document the intangible changes in our community, or as Nancy Franz said yesterday at our annual conference, trying to quantify our qualitative work, this was a unique moment. For the first time, I looked at a real built product of work that we had an opportunity to be a part of early in the design planning. Our studio had come up with the idea of the Gathering Place, and now there it was. A beautiful 20-unit housing development, complete with straw bale design and aesthetic elements that complement its setting on a hill that looks out towards Steptoe Butte. It was an emotional moment to be able to see a project that we conceived of 3 years ago finally being realized. Our pre-designed concept being used to leverage some $2.5 million in HUD grant funds for the tribe. I had the unique experience of participating in the Horizons BSCI programs in 3 different ways: as extension educator and coach, as a student, and as a community member. As an extension educator, being part of this experience made me feel that in a new and more significant way, the resources of the university were truly accessible to our community. Some of the hopes and visions of our community, so exhaustingly crafted during our Horizons process, could be realized through the work of students and faculty who were eager to apply their learnings to our reservation. As a student, I had the privilege of working with an amazing group of graduate students who came to the program with some 80 years of combined professional experience. My fellow students had backgrounds in architecture, GIS, interior design, landscape architecture, education, and conservation. With their expertise, combined with that of our faculty, who worked hard to ensure that the bioregional planning program did not lose its broad interdisciplinary focus, we were able to look at each project from multiple perspectives, and we were truly all co-learners in this project. We also had the opportunity to work with faculty who pushed us hard to see how our projects were more than just design applications. As a community member, I was able to see the university provide invaluable resources that pushed us to expand our community visions just a little bit farther. But I also saw our community members be teachers for students and faculty. The Gathering Place development is just one such an example. Suffice it to say that straw bale housing had not yet been tried in our community, but our students and faculty were surprisingly pleased to be able to work with people who weren't afraid of risk or innovation, and who were also able to articulate the strong sense of culture and tradition that exists on the Coeur d'Alene Reservation, and who weren't going to be passive recipients of the expertise of outsiders. Students gained an appreciation of our state's First Peoples and have a deeper understanding of sovereignty. They also let go of many of the assumptions and stereotypes that outsiders often have about an Indian community. One of the best experiences of going through the McGraw Award process has been the opportunity to discuss and reflect with Steve Hollenhorst and Steve Drown, Priscilla, Rula, Charlotte, and my friends and coworkers at home about the implications and learnings of what I see as a culture shift in the university. It wasn't just the successes, but it was actually the missteps and the turbulence created during this process that led to some of our biggest learnings. I've categorized these learnings into 3 major thoughts. The first, as University of Idaho faculty, we need to check ourselves to make sure that we're working for the community we serve, not for a grant or for a publication possibility. One of the blessings and curses of being an Indian reservation in close proximity to so many colleges and universities is that our community gets inundated with eager researchers who want to bring their projects to us. It's all too common for faculty to contact me or others in the tribal community to inform us that they have a grant or a project that they want to apply for, or have even sometimes already received, without spending the time to find out if this is even a priority for our community. I can't say that this never happened during BSCI's partnership with our community, but in general, what's defined this program is that our community already had our own defined vision and action plans that informed faculty and students how they could best serve the community. The community was not the beneficiary of our ideas, they were the deliverers. When faculty are committed to that service, the rest will follow. I think here of our partnership with David Paul and his colleagues in the College of Education. David, a BSCI faculty member, has spent time learning about our community. He spent a lot of time on the ground, having coffee with us, and learning how we envision health and wellness, and has repeatedly expressed his commitment to help us achieve our goals by helping us search for the right funding and the right resources. Rather than make us fit to his ideal, he's shown patience, humility, and a true desire to serve. This doesn't mean giving up opportunities for scholarship. These opportunities are plentiful, but it means that service drives scholarship and not the other way around. Along those lines, my second major thought is that we're not broken, so please don't come to fix us. Again, being an Indian reservation with, yes, a high incidence of poverty and social challenges, outsiders tend to see our community through a deficit lens. Yet those of us living there know that there's a wealth of resources in our community, human and otherwise, that make it an amazing place to be. Horizons was built on the premise of connecting those resources and those people, and really, so was BSCI. I think here of instructors like Tammy Laniga and Rula Awad Rafferty, who placed a high value on working with what's already there instead of looking to the outside for help. They helped us dig to see the many assets on the reservation and put them together to build an already strong identity instead of trying to force the community to adopt a new personality. My final thought is relationship, relationship, relationship. Those of us who worked on Horizons all over the state all know that this is probably the most valuable contribution our program has made, creating new relationships within our communities and with our neighbors. Building friendships and partnership with community members transcends the value of any design project. When Chris Meyer, Lavina Louie, and other Horizons leaders talk about what working with the University of Idaho has meant, it isn't about the zoning code we drafted or the design concept for a new education institute. It's about how it helped us as a community learn to appreciate ourselves. It's about how we feel like we are in partnership with the university. We have changed the context of our community from one of poverty to one of abundance. The social capital and human capital built through projects like these guarantee the long-term impact for our university faculty, our students, and most importantly, for our Idaho communities.
So like President Nelson said, we were the Western region winner, but the next challenge is to be the national winner. So hopefully in this audience, the next applicants for the McGraw-Kellogg Award are out there, and that you will apply. And we have 4 lessons that we'd like you to consider as you put together a cool, great project, and then somewhere down the line, make an application for the National Outreach Award. And just give me a minute, please, to tell you about those 4 lessons. The first is that our county extension faculty members are critical to successful community engagement. They help teaching and research faculty build relationships and access local knowledge. As the Horizons community coach and then BSCI student herself, Laura built what Putnam called bridging social capital, the ties that link people across social distance. Laura translated, she opened doors, and she introduced teaching and research faculty to a model of extension they didn't know existed. Laura taught us we must work harder to bridge the gulf between extension and academic faculty. Second, we learned that community engagement strengthens academic programs by attracting high-quality, motivated students who want to ground theory in community settings. That's what you heard Iris Mays talk about in the video. She and her bioregional planning students brought valuable life experience and commitment to their academic studies and to the communities in which they work. Their intelligence and altruism raised the bar for our university. Iris taught us we must work harder to coordinate and fund engaged student learning. Third, we learned that the university is not well structured to partner with complex communities. As the Kellogg Commission wrote, the world has problems, but universities have disciplines. To support community engagement, we need interdisciplinary and integrative structures, and we must do a better job changing the culture so that P&T committees and administrators reward faculty who engage in the time-consuming process of building relationships beyond the classroom. The communities taught us we must work harder at changing our structures and our culture. And fourth, really the ultimate lesson we learned from Better Together is that capacity and leadership programs lay a strong foundation for effective university-community partnerships. That's what you heard Lavina Louie talk about in the video. Communities with good leaders and clearly defined priorities know what they want from the universities and offer a great deal in return. In short, they make very good partners. Lavina taught us we must invest more in the capacity of our partners. These are the kinds of outcomes that Better Together has produced. Engaged scholarship aimed at producing higher educational outcomes, a more sustainable environment, and healthier children. There will be many more outreach projects like Better Together in our institution's future. Let's apply what we've learned and expand the number and the impact of these projects. It matters to Idaho that we get this right. Thanks. Okay, with that, let me introduce Priscilla Salant. It was really Priscilla that brought together the BSCI program with Extension and helped us see outreach in that way. Now, as the head coordinator of the Office of Community Partnership, she'll be doing that across the whole university. So, Priscilla?